Hi, my name is Reggie, and presenting Ancestry Tourism with me is Gabby, Jonah, and Rianne. So ancestral tourism is also known as genealogy tourism or roots tourism, and it is one of the fastest growing sectors in the tourism industry. Ancestral tourism is where people interested in the ancestry roots travel to countries or cities that marks a turning point in their family's history. Travelers can see and explore for themselves where their ancestors walked, lived, or worked. Tourists can use this type of tourism to look into local archives to find out more about their ancestors or as a way to reconnect with relatives they have lost in touch with or yet to meet. Some even take the next step into retracing their ancestors' footprints in either leaving their old country or arriving in a new one. The most common destinations for these ancestral trips are Scotland, Ireland, Italy, Germany, and Eastern Europe. Ancestry tourism is more prominent in countries that has experienced mass immigration in the past. If you want to visit exactly where your ancestral home is, taking a simple DNA test can tell you how much of your genetic history comes from one of 350 regions in the world.
So we have chosen Ireland and Scotland as our focus areas, since we have found these two countries to be among some of the most popular for ancestry tourism. According to Ancestry.ca, which is one of the most used DNA testing sites, they did a study in 2012 and it showed that 50 million people in the world have Scottish ancestry, and even in Canada, Scottish ancestry is 4.7 million people. Also, according to Canada's most recent census, people of Irish descent are the fourth largest ethnic group in Canada, with 4.5 million people. Both countries are that their lineage spans across many other countries and intrigues those who want to learn. So they encourage travelers to come and learn more about the country as well as their own family's history. Many resources are provided for tourists interested in learning. For example, tour companies like EF Tours have teamed up with Ancestry to offer educational genealogy tours that include ancestry kits and one-on-one sessions to learn more about your family specifically. You also get access to historical documents and guided trips to archive halls, as well as on the tours, you will get to visit the most historical cities and monuments, as well as having the opportunity to go see the places your ancestry is traced back to.
The most common generations that partake in this trend of travel has vastly broadened over the last couple of years. Originally, it was just the older generations, like Gen X and baby boomers, that had an interest, but in recent years, millennials, as well as the older end of Gen Z, have piqued their interests. These travelers choose ancestry travel over the traditional beach vacation in hopes of learning more about their family history or even just cultural heritage. There are usually some barriers to travel with these groups, ranging anywhere from the price of the tours, flights and accommodation, to the amount of information they're able to gain about the location or their family, or even difficulty getting to the destination from their home location.
This can vary based on different tours at various destinations. These tours have a lot of inclusions. For example, they come with the Ancestry DNA kits, a genealogist from Ancestry Pro Genealogists, and tours from local guides. Prices for these tours in Ireland can range from $4,770 to $4,999. Scotland Heritage Tours can range from $3,849 to $5,000. These aren't the only tours you can go on. If you take your own DNA kit, other countries do have tours that will help you learn about your background and heritage. They just don't have all the inclusions, but you might find tours for a better deal.
I've always been interested to learn more about my family roots, and so has my dad. So when I found out through 23andMe that the majority of our family came from Great Britain, I decided to invite him along for a little trip through the English countryside.
Just another day at the office for you, huh?
Just another day, Dad. Hi, Mr. Thomasine. I'm Allie. Nice to meet you. Come in.
Will do, thank you.
First time in Cheshire?
It is my first time.
It turns out a lot of our ancestors came from this area.
I've always wanted to research my family heritage. And so what better way to do it than with my daughter?
So you can see here, with 23andMe, it actually shows you like your top regions per country, where your ancestors have ties to. I can see, yeah. Yeah.
first hog.
Hi, are you Dad? I am. Lovely to meet you. Nice to meet
That means you must be
Hi,
Bill.
Dad.
Right.
I am.
Welcome to the farm. So you can see the sheep just over the ridge here.
Right?
And the first thing the dog needs to learn is its name, so you can call it back to you. Fluff, hello.
You say Dad'll do?
Yeah.
This is fast.
It must be interesting being here.
We come from this farming background,
Yeah.
and so we really wanted to kind of see what it's like out here.
This is my great grandma.
So roughly what year do you think this was?
So this is from about 150 years ago, something like that.
So about the time my relatives were leaving,
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
pictures.
Mine were busy.
Vastly different from Grandpa Fred's farm. Did Grandpa have a big interest in the family?
Yeah,
History
he was
then?
he would have loved doing a trip like this, especially with you. So here we are, guys. Thanks for coming on the tour. And looking forward to this. Going on a food tour is a great way of tasting food that you wouldn't necessarily taste and going off the beaten track and having great memories. The next place we're going to go to is something very quintessential, cheese shop.
Our affinity for carbohydrates and cheese products.
Yeah.
It's like a part of our identity. So Dad, after everything we've done this week, why do you think people are so interested in their heritage?
I think it's probably just curiosity, right?
I think it's one thing to see like names, places on a piece of paper. I think it's a whole other thing to actually meet locals and feel like you're actually connecting with that place. If you and I had just come here blindly, I don't think we really would have known what to look for.
I always knew I was English, but I think the experiences and the trip and the people that we've met gives me a little more context.
It'd be really cool to get Mom and go on another trip together. This is just like one dot on the map, and we have a few others to check off.
This has just been an experience that I know I'll remember the rest of my life.
Hello, I am Ryan interviewing Gabby, who is joining us on behalf of Airbnb discussing their collaboration with 23andMe with the focus of heritage travel.
Hey.
So the first question I have for you is, what exactly is heritage or ancestral tourism?
Yeah, so ancestral tourism, it consists of travelers who choose to go to these destinations, and they go to them specifically because it carries the history of their ancestors, which gives them an opportunity to walk in their footsteps.
Oh, great. So next question. How does Airbnb link themselves to this type of tourism?
Working closely with 23andMe, Airbnb's made it easier for travelers to engulf themselves in the local experience when visiting these destinations that usually carry some kind of importance to their family history or culture.
That's neat.
Yeah.
So the next question. Are there other tours that would include cruises instead for people that do not want to fly all the time?
Yeah, if you didn't want to go with something that related to Airbnb, Cunard, which is a cruise line, is actually working with Ancestry.com, which is really similar to 23andMe, and it helps broaden the horizons of genealogy travel and tourism, and it gives travelers a chance to trace their lineage on a trip that their family members might have made once upon a time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And lastly, if someone were interested in looking into their heritage now, how would you suggest they execute their travel plans?
Yeah, well, definitely I would start out with getting some kind of DNA test, something along the lines of Ancestry.com or 23andMe, finding out your actual lineage and everything like that. If you have any personal records, going through those, talking to family members, but then looking into your Airbnb, looking to get that local experience, so staying in the small towns, small places, really getting that feel for how your family once lived.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming and thank you for answering the questions.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for having me.